Hello there. Dr. Bill Crawford here, psychologist, speaker, author of 7 books, host of 2 PBS specials. Here again to bring you another tip on how to help you create the life you want. Specifically, how to use my life from the top of the mind philosophy to bring more clarity, confidence, creativity to everything you do. Today I want to talk about the concept of awareness and what I call the purposeful moment, of the power of that purposeful moment. There's a quote that I'm sending out to those 6,000 folks on my quote list. By the way, if you would like to be on that list so you get one of my favorite quotes each week along with 2 or 3 paragraphs about how to apply the quote to life, all you got to do is go to my website, billcrawfordphd.com, or just Google Bill Crawford PhD. I'll come up on the first page. Hit the subscribe button, put your name and email address. It's free, and each week I will send you one of these. This is the quote that I've adapted from one of my favorite authors, Richard Bach. He wrote like Jonathan Livingston Seagull and Illusions. I love his stuff. And the way I've kind of created is this. Ask yourself every moment, is this how I want to be thinking, feeling, and acting? And only continue when the answer is yes. I love that because I think it brings a certain amount of awareness to how we are being and whether or not we want to continue being that way. There's a quote from Albert Einstein that I use in all of my seminars and books that says, problems cannot be solved at the same level of awareness that created them. So when I go out and teach people my life from the top of the mind system, my goal is to help them raise their level of awareness of what's going on, how the brain processes information, what happens when we get stuck in the brainstem, how to shift from the brainstem to this clear, confident, creative neocortex that I call the top of the mind. And I think this question can be helpful. Matter of fact, I think asking very purposeful questions is really what it's all about. Because notice when we find ourselves feeling angry or stressed or frustrated or depressed or worried or annoyed, we have a tendency to ask questions like, man, why did they treat me this way? Or why did they do this? Or how can people act this way? Or how can people drive this way? Or why do I always find myself feeling this way? Those are what I call brainstem questions. They're about the problem and the pain of the problem, and they throw us into and keep us in that lower 20% of the brain. Now, if we're in a fight or flight situation, someone's coming at us with a gun, that's a really good brainstem question to ask. How do I get out of here? But notice how few of the situations that we deal with on a daily basis are truly fight or flight. So I like to ask what are called neocortex questions, questions that can only be asked and answered from this upper 80% of the brain. Allow us to raise our level of awareness of what's going on and how we want to keep it or how we want to change it. That question, is this and this moment, is this how I want to be thinking, feeling, and acting? Only continuing when the answer is yes. So what if the answer is no? You know, I don't really like feeling depressed or worried or anxious or angry or frustrated or annoyed. We could say, okay, so if I were able to choose how I wanted to feel right now, how I wanted to think right now, how I wanted to be, act right now, what would that look like? The question that I use in my seminars is, okay, dealing with difficult people, difficult situations, I would like to be more, what? Patient, calm, influential, creative, confident, whatever it is. See, those are neocortex qualities and characteristics. When we can get really clear, okay, this is what I don't want, this is what I do want, now we can begin to create that. Now that we've established what we're going for, we're really now going for the solution versus trying to stop the problem, and that engages and sustains this upper 80% of the brain. So I think the key is to raise our level of awareness of how we find ourselves thinking, feeling, and acting. Ask that question. Hey, is this, in this moment, is this how I want to be thinking, feeling, and acting? And if the answer is yes, terrific. If the answer is no, then we flip it. Say, okay, so if I were dealing with this situation more purposefully, I would like to be more what? And then get clear about that, and then we can begin to practice being that way. As we begin to practice being that way, we actually change how our brain is wired. We create what are called more neural pathways going from our limbic system, this scanner, processor, router part of the brain, to the upper 80% of the brain where we make more purposeful decisions, decisions that we would recommend to those we love. That's what I love to do. I go out and do this with organizations and with individuals. I show them how to raise their level of awareness of what's going on, what part of the brain it's coming from, shift from that reactive brain to that purposeful brain, and then deal with other people who may be stuck in their brainstem. How do we get them to shift from their resistant brain to their receptive brain? If you would like me to come and teach this to your organization, all you got to do is go to my website, billcrawfordphd.com, hit the contact button, let me know what you're interested in, and I would love to talk with you about that. In the meantime, if you really like this concept, I do encourage you to ask yourself this question. In this moment, is this how I want to be thinking, feeling, and acting? And only continue when the answer is yes. Be able to change it. Be able to raise your level of awareness. Come from this upper 80% of the brain. Determine the qualities and characteristics you would teach to someone you love and practice bringing that to life. Anything we practice, we get good at. If you'd like my help with that, let me know. Otherwise, I'm hoping you're enjoying these videos. By the way, if you do, please hit the like button. You know how Google and Facebook and YouTube love it when you like it. Share it with your friends if you feel they would find value in it as well. So, in the meantime, here's to you. Bring in more clarity, confidence, creativity to everything you do. And I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.